So one week 4 wrap up with some of your colleagues here in the room, and no one online so far. So this is the whiteboard. So these are the questions that we're going to be answering today. So I think there's 3 groups, at least in the post-its. There's 3 groups of questions that you guys asked, that you guys were concerned about. So first of all is the reading. There's a lot of reading to accomplish, and in 2 or 3 weeks. More efficient at reading. I think the answer to that is I don't know. Each person is different. I can give you a recipe that works with me, and some of you kind of think, really? Does that work with any human being? And I say, yeah, that works for me. The question is, what are you doing about it? This weakness, all of this is not in control anymore. This course is stretching you to your limits. What do you do about it? So you just sit tight, do nothing about it. Then you're probably not going to be able to achieve that higher grade that you want. I call that the exercise of the comfort zone, right? So if you think about learning is really about the following. Learning is the levels of learning. In any human being, in any individual learning, there's really comfort zone. So you get things right most of the time. So in the comfort zone, you get most things right 80% of the time. Okay? That's the learning zone. And the other learning zone, you only get things right 50% of the time. Okay? 50% of the time, you get things right. So, what's happening now is that because of this task, you were happy after the summer, kind of like, my final year, and now Sarah and myself are forcing you into your learning zone. So if you do this, you need to acquire new skills. You need to acquire something else. Your old self is not going to be good enough. But you go into what we call the panic zone. The panic zone is when you're paralyzed. Oh, this task is too big for me. I'm never going to make this. So you are here without coming here. Stay here. This stretch. You need to stretch your comfort zone into your learning zone. And that, it comes with effort. It comes with you trying. It comes with you going to the library. It comes with you, picking up books. It comes, I was really annoyed last week because I said, please do not recall the book I have. Somebody recalled it, and I took it with a smile. Somebody's recalling my book. That's the fighter I want to see, right? I just got the book. I don't care if my lecturers got the book. I'm going to recall that book because I need it. That's your comfort zone into your learning zone. I think for a lot of you, you're finding this hard because of course there's a lot of work building your skills, your study skills, and in this course you need to do better at your studying skills. That's why you're finding it hard. So that's just my assessment of the situation. Second, some of the readings on the outline. You were at home, people wrote them, you were at home, they were not available. So you click on the links and it doesn't work. You would email your tutor and say, I cannot get this reading, can you please help me? What do? That you get your butt out of your chair and you go to the library and ask them for the reading, I need to access this reading, what should I do? You learn something. You learn how the library actually works. There's human beings in the library, by the way. They help you. Not if you're just at home in front of your computer, waiting for the world to kind of like get in shape so you have the magical answer. That's not going to happen. Find any readings, email me. You can forward your email to the library. That's what the library is for, to help you with readings. And to help you with and the readings. That's my task. Their task is to make the readings available. Next question, which is papers to read. How do you start an essay topic? How do you start an essay topic? You tell me. What was the first thing you do when you selected, after choosing an essay question? What would it be? What would that be? How do you do that? Where would you find the journal articles? Suggested read, and then do what? Look at the reference on the suggested reading, and backwards and go forwards. That's what most people do. But for some, I don't know why, maybe there's a rumor that says that Google Scholar is better than the references on the papers. So people just go to Google Scholar, and then they get instead of being in a comfort zone, they get inundated with papers. They don't know what to do. So they go to the panic zone. So you now have 12 papers in front of you. You've printed them, it cost you a fortune. You printed them all in front of you, and you don't know what to do with them. So you want to say they're about your argument. So you do a little bit of reading, let's say 5, 6, 7 pages. And after 5, 6, 7 pages, you do that. And the reading becomes selective. It doesn't become more open. You don't read them just because you read them. You read them because you want to say something about an argument. And then I find it hard to read. I would be horrible at reading everything. Because I wouldn't be able to make it. Neither will you. You will fail. You need to read for something you want to tell us. So you make that decision. Read the introduction. Make that decision. Is this helping my argument? Is this helping building my argument or not? Or is it not helping building my argument? How do you get focused while doing these readings? And I thought it was funny because obviously they were obviously written by different people in different centers. So it's a widespread issue. What do you think? What's your answer to this? Come on, guys. This is not knowledge. Should be interactive. What's your answer? How do you stay focused throughout a paper like, the papers, the readings? How do you stay focused?
Taking small sessions reading, and not more than 20 minutes. That was only around 20 minutes continuously, then take a break, take a video, then come back and do 20 minutes straight. Because finding reading is a huge job. I probably, I tend to finish the reading, but I'm just like 50% of what I've read. I don't remember what I've make small sessions, more focused.
Spaghetti, that's not spaghetti, what's the word? There's a 25-minute session so the big time management guru that kind of said that's the way we should work in lots of 25 minutes, not the spaghetti. Some pasta, I will come to me. Maybe I'm different, right? Maybe I'm different, but I don't start anything if I don't know what that's going to bring me, right? So, if I was listening for 25 minutes, I target for those 25 minutes. By the end of this 25 minutes, I'll have another paragraph written. I'll have another something. I'll take notes of this paper. Or the next, by the end of these 2 hours, I will have a mind map of this paper. It doesn't matter what it is, but the task. I read the paper because I want to reach the goal, not because I need to do the task.
deadlines is really important because I only do reading because I have to come to the workshop about it. If that wasn't the case, I would probably just back up and not really reading tomorrow.
Of course. And that's why we conduct the seminars in a way which is different from second year, right? In second year, you could just show up, and it's okay, because it's your second year experience. Now, the final year experience is a little bit different, but one of the big problems that students face is this issue reading. You know, you don't read enough. You read, kind of like internet type of stuff, which is completely different. And you don't, when you read the internet, you read it for pleasure. So pleasure is not a goal. You're not going to learn anything. It's just kind of like spending time. This type of reading, you have to have a goal. I'm reading this because that has to be on your mind all the time. So that reading is between you and your goal, between you and your life objective, which is to get a second in this class or a first. That reading is between you and that. And I never read, so when I read the paper, I kind of said, in this class, I'm going to read this paper and complete this. So my thing is that read the paper easy. Through I am going to complete something. But maybe, I was always like that, so it's not something that I'm now. I don't know why am I doing it. What's contributing to the rest of my life? My brain switches off. I can see the words, and that also activates my memory. The goal, I know why. You're connecting with the processes of memory all the time. I start reading the paper because I need to write something about this paper. I said, learn something about role models from this paper. And I'm going to write a paragraph on role models after reading this paper. That's what I do. I read the paper, constantly scribbling the paragraph, and by the end of the 2 hours, I wrote that paragraph. Because the paper is to get somewhere. So I wrote the paragraph. So my task is to write the paragraph, not to read the paper. Any sense? So, any sense? So, not really. And then, so reading are two faces of the same coin, right? You don't read because academic papers. You don't read for distraction, right? Unless you can 30 seconds. Because you want to use them in your writing. So that's it. That's a big step here. Learn from text where you're going to use in your writing and not the other way around. So everything you write, everything you read should be contained within the essay. And the way we kind of like do this is we now have had 4 weeks, 5 weeks this week where you kind of that gives you an idea, an inclination for an article. You should read the 5 readings in are suggested in that topic, and you have an inclination, you have a hint about your article. And you say, what do you like to do? Right? Ricardo, I've read these 10 texts, I have no idea, please help me. I will give you a hand. Right. Or how do I build my argument in just 2,000 words? Right? Something to say. And you write academic paragraphs. I demonstrated to you last week, I hope, this paper, the introduction plus the list review up to the method, 2,100 and something words. Normal, not fast. And there's a lot there, right? There's a lot there. There's justification, there's concept, there's a lot there. So you guys can do it, right? If you don't use words to write things which are not significant to your argument. Also methods that I mark. There's blocks of text, 150 words, 200 words, 300 words, even sometimes, which are completely relevant for the argument that the student is trying to make. And if you can't do it in 2,000 words, you can't do this as in 2,000 words. You can't do a great essay in 2,000 words. And I know, not just I know, but some of you don't care. Some of you, maybe not some of you in this room, but some people at home, you're going to watch this video later, they don't care about a D or a C in this course. They're just happy to pass. And these lessons that I try to share, they're not for people that just want to pass, right? You guys know more about what a pass looks like than I do. Because you get really about trying something new. I get demotivated if I'm just going to go for pass. It's just not my lifestyle. It's not the way I do things in my life. So I know what a pass looks like. I couldn't know one when I see it. I know a D when I see one, but I couldn't describe it to you. It's a D. You can read the right English. You can read the right English. Works for deep analysis. It's about that funnel, right? So you don't have to tell us the story of entrepreneurial learning and all that. One can check, they've already done that. So that's your starting point. That there are people who told you about the entrepreneurial learning as a research domain. So start with that. Don't kind of tell us the story, back in 1997, Young Saxon wrote this, smiled or that. Don't tell us all that. You don't need to know. That's important words that you could probably use somewhere else. One.
But most of the information we have here are possible, as we explore the definition of tomorrow, scholarship, or should we do that, or should we work on explaining, or
It's your argument. Right? But the typical is somebody gives us 2 paragraphs on Bandura. Relevant to your argument in entrepreneurial learning. Or people describe the cold cycle. This is not this class. This is an entrepreneurial learning class. So if it helps us to understand your arguments, with entrepreneurial learning, by all means do it, right?
anything which relates to learning? Do we have
What should you already tell us what entrepreneurial learning is?
The reader of the essay is kind of person who is not a academic person who's saying that is this and he's a bad person. I think this one should say this and this. All I have to expand upon this was what one should say and this is what I want to do.
If it has an argument to expand it, expand it. If it doesn't have your argument, just keep it simple, right? Because Richard said that, he gave you what instruction to read, so you will have to admit that we know what you guys thought.
also between the excerpt and the learner?
So there's 2 of them in this university, right? Or 3 of them in this university, and 2 of them teach you this course. So you have to admit that. So there's an issue here about critique. A number of posters kind of talk about how do we critique, or kind of what's this critique? And critique is highlighting the tensions. One paper says this, one paper says that. It's kind of talking. Remember this week when in the seminar I said the stories are different, but they're different, and sometimes one gives prominence. I like something really important for paper 1, but it's not even mentioned on paper 2. So that's something that you can use in your critique. They both talk about the same issue, but in different ways. So that's the source of critique. We've done this. So I'm not asking you guys to do something that we've not done and that it's not been demonstrated in science. So the right? One, paper gives prominence to a process that is not addressed in any of the rest of the literature. Critique it by saying, why would Hamilton look at the practice and that's not addressed in any of the other literature? An example, by the way, it's not true. It's just an example. To the rest. Right. There's a couple of folks who say, I've got too many words. How do you get to it? Take what's not in your argument. Take out your examples. So a lot of people said they were surprised. Ricardo, you said that we shouldn't use examples. I'm just going to clarify that, because I want to make it transparent what I meant. What I was in academic writing, in the past, you often develop a certain topic and link it to your argument. So that's how you do it, okay? And they replace the developing, because developing means that you develop that theory with an and that it's not how it should be. So you should preparation for a topic you want to discuss that contributes to your argument. Development means that you refer to other theories, other scholarly work that talks about that same issue, that same topic, and then link this. Why are you talking about this? Link it to your argument. That's the is not. Can you add an example? By all means, you can add an example. You spend 100 words in an example. I'm spending 150 on theory. No, I don't think you should do that. Because you take over the theory. I did not say, because I have some people that wrote universities. I'm surprised to learn that we can't use examples on this subject. I did not say that. I did say that perfectly. You can do whatever you desire in this area. But our question is that you dwell more in theory, rather than an example of Steve Jobs or something like that. Top marks. Of the stats, right? Why is the stats so difficult? People ask me. There's like 5 post-its on. I've never had an answer like this, Ricardo. Why this is so difficult, Ricardo? And I sense that I am helping you or pushing you, kind of inviting you to leave comfort zone. I had somebody that said this in the evaluation of this module last year. This was the first time it really stretched me. It's been so difficult because you use what you have, and probably this essay is asking you to get out of your comfort zone and go to your learning zone. Maybe I don't know. It's just theory, right? It's just a theory. No empirical evidence. Conceptual. Key readings, and I was wondering what was meant by that. So key readings are the readings that you develop your argument around, okay? So your argument is based on key readings. Let's say that you want to talk about mechanisms of experiential learning, right? You need to read Cope and Watts 2000. You need to read Cope 2003. These are key readings that talk about mechanisms of experiential learning in entrepreneurship. These are key readings. How do you know if a key reading is a key reading? You know, come and chat, right? Can I have a chat? Email me? Reading? It's fine, right? But that's not the key reading. You feel that's not the key reading. Instead, of you learning something that helps you with your it's taking you to avenues that we've never mentioned before in the class. Mechanisms, they cover something else. So, and the Flint landscape. Probably not right. They have to talk about the same thing. How about the differences between observational and situational? So that's an ethic question, so I'm not going to answer that, right? Yeah, because they were founded by different people, different practical understandings of what it means to learn social. This is straight away.
Argument is that answer to questions anonymous to the argument, argument needs to develop on
So an argument is right. We can say, all right. Theory says about this question says this, and this so on. No overflowing message that comes out of your rest. Message you want to give your rest. I understand. Most of your essays so far, they were maybe not U6, right? Maybe just people that are at home at the moment, they're not here. But most essays, they were based on regurgitating, they were based on telling the marker what the marker told you. For domains of knowledge, we are stable. So let's say, so they've got certain equations that manage their approach, okay? So they ask you, guys, tell us about these equations and what do they mean. So you don't have to develop your argument, you're explaining, aligning, justifying somebody else's argument. In a field like this, which is emerging, is developing stable explanations. So we go together, and what does this mean? You know, way telling us what we told you. You could opt to just regurgitate what other people have told you. You can just opt, but you will deserve the subsequent grade. Right? So I'm always going for top grade. All my advice is for top grade. It's not for average to below grades, right?
The argument is kind of like completely different, and it's not, there's no evidence for it.
Because it's interesting, the argument only has to be grounded in the issue that you've read. So you think about something, but you then have to write it in a way that comes from the reading.
You can base on theory, and then, in the end of the conclusion, you can put in what you think, I don't know what value this would be an answer as well. And the need for research would be, would it be in a favor?
What you think, I would call it your view. And your views, the way we see it, your views are informed by your the dealings you have with the entrepreneurial context. Let's say that you have observed something in your own context, in your own entrepreneurial context, in another country, in another, with your dad or something like that, which is contrary the literature. So that's the argument of the literature, and then you introduce your view. And your opinion are two different things. Your view is shaped by the readings, by observations, by dealings with it. Your opinion is something that you share with friends about soccer or about something that you don't care about. That's the kind of the difference between views and your opinions. And I think if you have views, and I like limitations in the theoretical understanding of entrepreneurial learning, that's the thing. That's the thing. If you have a paper around it, that's not great. So, based on the literature.
What would be the first contribution to your view, or you were contributing all
your argument is not formed based on, how you read these. Some limitations. If you really go deep, in situated learning, sort of limitations. That's it. We'll compare the processes of learning and observational learning. Will be made, and it's all about imitation. So the processes that will be compared are the processes that connect to imitation. The processes will be compared. With other processes, they have no link to imitation. Same, but the argument is completely different. So it's all about culture. In my country, master apprentice, situated learning, observational learning, that's irrelevant. You learn, this is what we do. It's a socialization process. So this argument, and throughout this essay, an argument will be made that, tools of entrepreneurial learning, are directly related to the roots of socialization. One, encourage us to do all of this work. All of that, I'm encouraging you guys to go to the top marks. You know again what you should do for the average marks. I'm not going to tell you how you should behave as an average. That's against our ethos. In any way about what do I need to do for an average mark? Would I motivate one of my students to go for an average mark or below average mark? Of course not. That's not my role. I want you guys to excel. I want you guys to flourish. Don't be serious. That I'm missing? Anything else? Yeah?
That you have to keep your things on that. So we have to read something that you have
I know I've read all the papers, right? Yeah, and that's a good point. But I've not made the connections that guys, right? I know nothing about your context, for instance. If you tell me a bit about your context, I know nothing about your context. So the scope for an argument that I've not heard before. And that's your aim, right? I'm going to teach Sarah and Ricardo something. That should be your aim for a top mark. We're ready then. So thank you very much for being at home, and thank you very much for the people here. And I will stop the recording now.